Welcome back to my morning report analysis videos on Friday the 6th of January with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Hantech Markets. Let's look at cable. And we've seen two bull candles in a row. We've also seen a breakout back above 123.87, so that sort of turns the outlook far more positive near term. Look at the stochastics rising quite sharply. I'm still sort of looking at this as a sort of medium term range play, and you have to admit that having broken above 23.87, that puts the bulls back in sort of an element of control, and that's sort of corrected back to that breakout level that we've seen there in the last sort of 12 hours or so. We've sort of corrected back to that 23.87 level. 23.87 is sort of a pivot, actually. So that is a near-term breakout, which arguably double bottom. So you'd sort of measure 23.87 up from the low at 22 figure area, so it's about 190 ticks. So there is still further upside potential, you would certainly argue, and there is still a way to go potentially with this move. But the momentum indicators are interesting because the hourly has just sort of fallen away a touch. Yes, they are sort of marginally positive configured, but couldn't make it above 70 on the RSI and the hourly before sort of dropping away. Now we've seen that sort of corrective move in the overnight period, and I think now the important support comes in around 23.50 to 23.60 area. Sorry, 23.30, which is this old sort of pivot line. 23.30 to 23.60. And that, I think, will be an important support. If that needs to hold, I think, on this corrective move, and it seems at the moment to be doing just that. It is holding. So 23.70 has been the low before sort of beginning to turn around again. So I think it's going to be driven by payrolls on the near-term basis anyway, certainly today, because I think the markets is basically consolidate. It will consolidate in front of payrolls. I can't see any real direction being generated now ahead of the payrolls report, and then you're going to get the reaction and the volatility after payrolls. So it's once that all subsides and the market starts to settle down, I think it will be interesting to see whether this is a continuation of this base pattern or whether the sort of the corrective move comes back in. But at the moment, I'm sort of looking at 23.30 towards 23.60 being your sort of basis of support that needs to hold. So looking at that, I'm expecting payrolls to come in sort of marginally weaker than expected, and that would be a bit of a drag on the dollar, so that would be positive for cable. So that sort of points towards a bit of a positive bias in the wake of payrolls. So at the moment, above 23.87, and if that can hold, then you're looking fairly positive for obviously a retest of 24.30, which was yesterday's high, and then beyond. But I think ultimately I'd be still looking at selling into strength in this range. I still think we're going to get a retest of the supports, and just for now the outlook is improving, but I don't expect it to continue especially long. So I wish you good luck in your trading, and I'll speak to you later. Thank you.